What's up, guys? This is Kaylee Johnson here with Digital Journey. If you're a person that's wanting to learn social media, maybe that's just for you personally, maybe it's for your business, this is the right place for you. I'm so excited today to have Chris Hood on the podcast. Chris Hood is a keynote speaker and thought leader in digital strategy with over 3 decades of experience in online development. He's the author of Customer Transformation, and Chris provides a roadmap to customers' alignment and business value, articulating a transformative 7-stage strategy. Currently, Chris shares his insights on the Chris Hood Digital Show, helping businesses worldwide accelerate their digital potential. Beyond consulting, Chris imparts his knowledge to Southern New Hampshire University students, bridging the gap between business and technology through courses like Business System Analysis. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into digital marketing and what your journey looks like.
Yeah, so you covered a lot of it, but really, if we look back over the course of the last 30 years, I started at a movie theater and I spent a lot of time in the entertainment fields, movies, television, music, video games. And I really loved that entertainment side of it. But then as I started to progress through my career, I also had this really fond passion for technology. And so I had to make a decision, got to that fork in the road. Do I go down the technology path or do I go down the entertainment path? So I did what everybody else would do. You would follow the money, and I decided to go into movies, which was clearly the right decision at the right time. But I loved having that connection still with technology. And so as the internet started to blossom, as we started to create mobile apps, I realized that there really was this convergence happening, that the internet and websites, mobile apps were just another form of entertainment. And even from a business perspective, we have to entice people, entertain people, get people interested in our products and services, keep them on our website. All of the traditional things that you would find in storytelling as part of entertainment, like movies and television and video games, are required for every single other business. It doesn't really matter. And so I started to really help organizations understand and bridge that gap between the technology side, the business side, the creative sides, and begin to develop strategies that helped recognize this is what the customer is looking for. This is what consumers expect when they visit you online. And how are you going to keep up with that ever-evolving demand and change? Over the last 6+ years, I worked for Google, where I headed up digital strategy and innovation. And while I was there, I really honed in on this concept of what I wrote about in my book, Customer Transformation. The recognition that consumers, we as consumers, are the ones that are transforming first and really fast. And as a result, technology and businesses have to figure out how to adapt to that evolution, keep up with it during that transformation in order to provide entertainment value and products and services that are going to meet those needs of those consumers.
Yeah, wow, that's some amazing insight. It sounds like your journey is all connected and led you to the point where you are today. And I love how you got into movies first and then realized that, digital marketing, it is a form of entertainment because we're having to keep people's attention and keep them interested, which is, what movies do. So that's a super cool connection. I'm super excited to learn some of your wisdom on this. I know you have a lot of experience, and so I'm excited to learn, as well as I know all of my listeners are. So one thing I wanted to talk about is, what do you think are some of the key elements to a successful digital strategy?
Well, so digital strategy, I think, is an interesting term within itself. I just wrote on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago that digital strategy is not marketing strategy. And digital marketing strategy is redundant.
Yes.
Right? Because I think a lot of times people think, well, I have to put that digital marketing, and connect them together. If you're not marketing today in a digital format, then you're missing a good majority of your audience. So I always look at digital marketing as one and the same as marketing, because marketing should include digital no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely.
That's because consumers are on digital channels and on platforms, and you've got to be able to connect with them. So digital marketing is all marketing. Digital strategy, however, is the concept of how does your business evolve, grow, meet the needs of consumers through digital channels. It really doesn't have anything to do with marketing, right? It's more about your product, your services, your business strategy, your platforms that you are adopting. For example, I'm sure we can talk a little bit about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a part of your digital strategy. Now, you might
Yes.
use AI for marketing, but it's really more the decision that we are going to adopt AI into our practice in some way. We might apply that to customer service, customer support, building out customer experiences, further enhancing our overall product roadmap. Yes, we might leverage it for marketing, but the decision, that process is the digital strategy part. So, what really makes good digital strategy, and this is going to be a repetitive theme, is understanding who your customer is first. You don't make digital decisions without understanding if there is a customer value proposition in the approach. And if you can directly say, here is our value proposition, here's what the customer is asking for, here's what they're going to get out of it, now you can start to think about, well, what technology can we bring in to support that? You're not doing it in reverse. You're not saying, hey, look, again, artificial intelligence, it's out there. Everybody's using it. We got to get on the bandwagon. Let's bring it in. Now, what are we going to do with it?
Right.
How are we
Right.
going to use it? And you're not even asking the question, do your customers even care?
Yes.
Do your customers even want it? Right. So that's that reverse in mentality. Start with your customers, then figure out what digital trends, technologies, enhancements to your organization do you want to bring in to meet those customer needs.
I think that's fantastic. And one thing we focus a lot on at Digital Journey is who is your target audience and what platforms are they on? Because so many businesses start off with, I just want to sell this product. And it's like, great. But if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. Because everyone has specific platforms they're on, specific needs they want. And so we really try to hone in who is that target audience. And while that might take time, it really saves you a lot of time in the long run. Because like you said, you might be wanting to experiment with AI, but is that what your customers want? And by knowing your target audience, that's really going to save you time and save you work in the long run, because you're not going to be as experimenting on as much on things that are just going to fail right off. So I think that's really, really key. And I love how you differentiate digital marketing from digital strategy. Because, I mean, if it's digital, it should be marketing. And focusing on the strategy of that is, I think, where a lot of people kind of fade off and don't have a plan behind what they're doing, but instead just, okay, I'm going to post. And it's like, okay, what's your intention for posting? What's your reason for it? So I really, really like that. Yeah, that's awesome. So one other thing you talk about is a human-centric view. And I think that's so great, because sometimes digital online presence can make you feel disconnected because you're not necessarily seeing people face to face. So how do we bring that human-centric view back to technology?
Yeah, it's another interesting conversation because, again, I'll just go back to AI. AI is in the news and it seems to be something that's on everybody's mind. I was asked the other day, how do you bring in artificial intelligence for the customer experience? And I said, well, that's an interesting challenge, right? Because when you think about customer experience, you think human connection. When you think about artificial intelligence, it's artificial connection, right?
Right.
And so you're trying to, smash these two concepts together, and you're removing that human element in favor of automation or in favor of something that's artificial. You can't have a human connection with your customer if you're replacing it with some sort of artificial intelligence or entity to manage that relationship. The AI cannot manage a relationship. Only you can do that.
Yes.
Yet we are seeing, not just from AI, we're seeing a complete and total disconnect from connecting with the consumer. You could say, well, social media is helping that because now we can access people more easily. Yes, I would agree to some level on that. But even that is becoming a lot of automation in the process. If you post something on Twitter and tag somebody, there's an automatic response saying, oh, how can I help you? Rarely is that a real person behind there.
Mm-hmm.
So we as humans expect that human relationship and connection, right, with the businesses we engage with. It's no different than we're seeing things pop up like robotic self-served smoothie locations.
Right.
You walk into the store, you place your order, a robot makes the smoothie for you and hands it off. Well, that place closed down. Why did it close down? Because we don't want to walk into a smoothie shop and just pick up an order from a robot, right?
Exactly.
Even some of the robotic deliveries are having challenges with this concept. There's
Mhm.
this convenience element to it. There is obviously an automation, and there's a certain level of expectation in that process of getting my order delivered to me successfully and quickly. But we are human, so we need some level of connection with people. This is why some organizations right now are creating a business differentiation about that human connection. Recently on the Super Bowl, Discover Card had an entire commercial series that was based on I'm talking to a robot. No, really, this is a robot. No, you're talking
Right.
to a human being. They are marketing hard that when you call in to support, you are going to get a human being. Now, I'm a Discover Card member. And when I call in, I get to a human being in like 2 clicks, like
That's
literally
amazing.
boom, boom. And then,
Wow.
hello, this is Sarah from Ohio. Like they tell you who they are, where they're at. The beauty of it
Mm.
is they're actually handling those calls from their living rooms because
Right.
they can just connect, right? So we we love that interaction because for each of us, our experiences and our problems and the challenges that we are faced with, whatever the product or service is always going to be unique. It's always going to be, yeah, but I got this one little challenge. And we can't have that conversation with a robot when the robot is specifically trained to answer A, B, or C. Well, it's not A, B, or C. How do I get to a human? Pound,
Mhm.
pound, pound, right?
And then it
We
sends you
all
to
have had
another
that
robot, which
frustration.
sends you to another robot, and you're lucky if you get a human.
Exactly. We've all had that frustration, which is why this human connection is so critical to us now. And we've got to think about that as we're building out these tools.
Yes, and I mean, social media was created to connect you. It was created originally for that connection between people. And so much of that is getting lost now because people are trying to think what's the quickest way to do this? What's the most efficient way to save time? And they forget that, we do crave that human interaction. And, without that, what sets you apart from other businesses? If every business is doing things with automation, if every business has robots handling all the calls, why should a person choose your business over someone else's? And I think taking time, like I personally, I love ChatGPT, but I don't rely on ChatGPT. So I think it's great to generate ideas and to give helpful tips, but I'm never going to take something from ChatGPT, copy and paste it, and put it somewhere. I'm a big believer that even if we consciously don't realize something is AI, subconsciously we realize something's missing. And we can tell something is not quite there emotionally. And if you don't have that emotional connection, it's going to be a lot harder to connect with your customers and to even sell your product. No one wants to be looked at as a number. No one wants to be looked at as, okay, I'm just my money. We want it to be, oh, they value me as a person.
But we are shifting our mindsets around AI a little bit. And I'll give you 2 examples how you can test this yourself. If you've used ChatGPT and in your prompt engineering, as you're talking to ChatGPT and asking it questions, if you ask, how would you, and you're referring to ChatGPT as the you are envisioning that that's a person that you are having the
Mm-hmm.
conversation with, right? What would you do in this scenario?
Right.
And so we've kind of adjusted to that. Another example of this is if you have Alexa in your house or Google Home, like I do, if you ask a question like, okay, Google, what's the weather today? And it comes back with the weather. How often are you responding with, thank you?
Exactly. Yes.
And you have this emotional connection with the entity that you are having the conversation with. Now, I had this conversation with one other person, and they said, well, I say thank you because I don't know if they're eventually going to take over the world, and I want to be on the good side of AI just in case. So, there is some mindsets that are going on in here.
Yeah, that's very true. I hadn't That's an interesting point of view there. But yeah, and it's we as humans we crave that connection. And subconsciously all the time I'll be, talking to, Siri or something, be like, "Okay, thanks." And then I'm like, "Why am I thinking a machine right now?" And then they respond back, "You're welcome." And then it's like this is even getting stranger and stranger. So I think as AI continues to advance, and we're seeing it advance so rapidly right now, it's going to be more and more important that we're intentional in viewing who our target audience is and thinking of the customer, and not just what's most efficient. Even though efficiency is important, and that's one thing we focus on Digital Journey is like, you know, we don't want you to. Some people like content creation, and they're normally more content creators. But small business owners, don't want to sit down and spend 3 or 4 hours creating a post or working on social media. So, efficiency is important, but don't be lazy in it. Still put that effort and that heart into it. So I think that's a really good key thing when talking about AI. That's great.
There is a balance, right? We're not saying remove AI completely from the equation,
Absolutely,
but you
yeah.
have to recognize that as you introduce more AI, you are losing the human connection. So
Hmm.
there's a risk reward. The AI is going to help you automate and build better efficiencies, but at the loss of the human connection.
Right.
And then if you add the human connection, then it's at risk of automation and efficiencies, right? Because
Hmm.
obviously we can't do it as fast. So you've got to figure out what that balance is for you. At what point in time is it the right balance of human connection and automation and efficiency?
Yeah, that's so good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. How can my listeners reach you? How can they find you if they're wanting to hear more about this?
You can reach out to me on my website, chrishood.com, CHRISHOOD. On there, you can find my blog, my podcast, all the videos that I've produced, my social media profiles, my book, anything you want is right there.
That's fantastic. And Chris has a lot of great insights, so I would definitely recommend y'all go check him out. We'll have that linked in the comments below. So definitely go check him out, gain from his wisdom that he has on things. Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. It was lovely talking to you.
Absolutely.